week 17 of the fantasy football season, and here's a few running backs. I have his sleeper options this week. The first guy, Amari DiMacedo of the Arizona Cardinals. So DiMacedo, we've seen some flashes from him early in the season when James Conner was out with injury. Going back to week 7, he had 13 carries, 58 rush yards, 4 catches, 17 yards. Week 8 versus Baltimore, 20 carries, 78 yards, a catch for 1 yard. And now the last 2 weeks, he's back in the mix. I know most of it was garbage time versus San Francisco in week 15. 4 carries, 64 yards, a rushing touchdown, a catch, 6 yards. And then week 16 in Chicago, it was a close game for the most part, but he had 7 catches, 40 yards, and 2 carries, 10 yards. So he's a receiving down back and third down back. DiMacedo's actually gone out there and he made some plays. This week, a tough matchup where I don't think there'll be much running lanes for James Conner. The Eagles give up the third least amount of fantasy points to running backs on the season. So obviously, I think this could be a game that gets out of hand early and often. And DiMacedo could carve out a decent role, I think. So if you need a running back in deeper leagues with injuries or you play a lot of flexies, he's out there as a sleeper option in 97% of fantasy leagues. Next running back's Latavius Murray of the Buffalo Bills. So Latavius Murray, it's been an all-right season for the veteran running back as a short yardage and goal line back for this Buffalo Bill team. In the last few weeks, I know the numbers have been quiet for the most part. Week 12 at Philly, 9 carries, 30 yards, 3 catches, 18 yards. Week 14 at Kansas City, 3 carries, 9 yards, 21 yards on 1 grab. And week 15 versus Dallas in that one, 5 carries, 11 yards and a touchdown. And last week, he didn't see the field. So right now, Latavius Murray, I think they'll get him the ball in this one because this is going to be a matchup versus the Patriots where we know this Patriot team is a physical type of defense. Even though I know they've given up points this season, this is a division matchup. The weather, most likely, it's going to be cold out there and bad weather in Buffalo like it usually is in December. And you need a physical running back at times. I know James Cook's done a good job over the last few weeks, but I think Latavius Murray is a short yardage guy and the goal line back could carve out a decent role in this one. Available still in 85% of fantasy leagues. And the third and final running back I have as a sleeper is Kenneth Gainwell of the Philadelphia Eagles. So Kenneth Gainwell, he got some work last week. Still available, though, 72% of fantasy leagues. In that game versus the Giants, it got out of hand a little bit. And then the Giants made a late third quarter, fourth quarter comeback to make it close. But anyway, Kenneth Gainwell in that one, 6 carries, 41 yards, 3 catches, 38 yards. So he actually had 9 touches in that game. And the week before that as well, he had 6 touches. So the last few weeks, his touches have gone up. And this week, a good matchup in a game where I could see Philly in the second half try to chew the clock out in that one versus the Cardinals that give up the most fantasy points to running backs on the season. So right now, Kenneth Gainwell, like I said, available in tons of leagues at 82%. And if you need a running back that is a sleeper option, I think he can maybe surprise this week. So that's a few running backs I have as sleepers for week 17 of the fantasy football season.